Welcome back, everyone. We have part two to our personal resilience series. Today, we have Kyle back on, and we're going to be talking about having alignment to a cause. Last week, we talked about physical well-being. If you haven't heard that one, please go back, take a listen to it. We have, I believe it's a 7-part series. No, it's longer, 7-part series, right? Something like that.
Roughly.
So we're going to be trying to do these once a week over this next 6 to 7 weeks, get this done for you. I personally like this because I think it's something that's missing from people. We don't talk about personal resilience. We talk about how other people need to change, but it's very rare we talk about our own personal change, what we can do personally to make ourselves more resilient, but also to be better in everyday life and not get beat up by the world as much as the world has a tendency to try and beat us up. So Kyle, please take it away. Let's talk about being aligned to a cause.
Yeah, definitely, Dave. And just a little disclaimer, my mic should sound better. I think there's some technical difficulty last week. My apologies. But yeah, so back into personal resilience. So again, resilience, the capacity to recover quickly, the ability to, like an elastic band, snap back to like normalcy or back into shape, whatever that looks like. So this part of the series is talking about alignment to a cause, or sometimes I say alignment to a mission or even a commitment. For some, if you've taken like corporate trainings, maybe this is like alignment to the workplace. So there's a lot of different ways that we can illustrate this. But my favorite way is, thinking about Murph, thinking about, Michael Murphy and just that whole story, which, I'm sure you guys have heard if you're in the CrossFit circles and you're listening in right now. But I happen to come from a family of military service members. Both my parents were in the Air Force. They ingrained that into me, and I've always valued strongly military service members and the type of person that has the capacity to go intentionally into harm's way, intentionally into high stress environments with high stakes type of things. And you say, well, yeah, military service members are a great example of resilient people that are able to take that on. But I want to extend that out. I want to also look at, think about firefighters. Think about anybody that's in a public service sector where you are deliberately providing a service in a intense situation. And again, EMTs, firefighters, these are the easy topics, but I want to actually take that in a little bit of a different direction. It's reactive, anything that's reactive.
Mm-hmm.
So resiliency allows you to react to a stressor or something that is actually kind of hitting you right in the face. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to deal with this right now. And, these happen to be some examples of people that's what they've trained for. That's what they're ready to do. And there's a lot to be said about that. So I want to think of like some very tangible concepts. Many people have heard this idea of like no man left behind, right? That's a cause. That's a mission. That's a commitment. I am not going to leave my fellow soldier behind. I'm not going to abandon my brother in arms. I'm not going to leave a firefighter in the building. I will always go into the fire if there's somebody that I know is in harm's way. There's somebody that's unaccounted for. I'm going back into that building, right? And that's actually really significant. When we talk about resiliency, there's more at stake, right? It's about how I'm able to recover, how am I able to perform? And I think that requires first and foremost a mission, a commitment, or a cause. Now, for a lot of us, we don't necessarily know what a cause looks like. And that's something that I think maybe Dave can give us a few examples of, like, what are common causes? What are things that people, live, breathe, and die for that might be good examples? So.
Well, you have obviously anything that's a little bit more extreme, whether it's military, police, fire department, wherever happens to be in that realm. But you also have people that are super committed to anything they see as like an injustice or some way to help people in some way, shape, or form. We recently did a 5K and the funds went to New York City Relief Bus, which their cause and mission is to literally clothe and feed the homeless in New York City and now in Patterson and kind of spreading out from there. But I feel that we all are engineered to kind of go towards a cause or to fight for something. And we can latch onto that in a positive and negative way. But we see a lot of people, charities are the easy thing because you can donate monetarily or you can volunteer your time and you're not at a major risk. but
Mhm.
there is always a risk when you take a stand in one way or another, and you kind of show what you believe. But I feel that most people I know take a stand in funny ways where it comes to a certain workout program. Like CrossFitters believe CrossFit's the greatest thing in the world, and that's their cause, and they're behind that. And if you think CrossFit is stupid, they don't like you. It's the type of thing. Um, but I know for just because the world that I kind of hang out in with friends, usually their cause is a charity or a group that's trying to help people that need it.
Mhm.
Um, not, and I think that's a lot of things. Like people join the military, and the people that talk about it with their heart, it's about helping people. It's not about, going out there blowing up stuff all the time. Like that's all fun and cool for a lot of people, but that comes down to helping someone, as well as the camaraderie that you build with the person next to you while you're in
Mhm.
some type of service. So
Yep.
not sure if
So
that
right.
answers your question, but
No, no, it does, because we're seeing beyond ourself, right? There's the
Mhm,
big picture. There's this idea of like an altruistic, selfless pursuit. And I think that's really important, because when or at least I'll speak for myself as a therapist, when I work with a lot of people, one of the recurrent struggles that I see is, people that say, Kyle, I don't have a cause. I don't know what I believe in. I don't have a mission. I don't have a direction that I'm heading in. And I think in order to be resilient, we need that.
mhm,
What military service member, what firefighter, what parent, what mom, what business owner is going to keep forging forward if they don't have a sense of a bigger picture? They don't have a like um, a larger role to play.
mhm.
What is Dave Whitson doing in the CrossFit community? Who is he trying to be in the community of Hawthorne? How is he trying to have an impact beyond himself, right? And that's where we start to take it to that next level. And before we go any further, my challenge, and again, this is loaded, but I don't think human beings can function in a healthy capacity without a cause.
Yeah.
Now, causes change, they shift,
Mhm.
they mature, they grow, they go from one thing to another, and that's okay. But I think we need a cause, otherwise we're just kind of spinning in circles, wandering around. Or what I see often is the cause becomes just selfish. It's just
Yes. Mhm.
betterment of self, which I think inevitably leads a lot of people to hopelessness, because they say, I've only ever done things for myself, so I had this like weird feeling of guilt that's creeping in there, like where's that coming from, what's that all about? But then what happens when you encounter, again, this is about resiliency, something that you alone cannot solve? That's
Mhm.
where the hopelessness comes in.
Yes.
Because if I'm only ever focused on my own cause, my own self, and I hit my wall, I hit my limit, and I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know who to draw from. I don't know where to go to. And that, as you'll see, is very different than what I'm going to present now. So there's like reactive resilience. So this is like people that are resilient in response to a cause, a mission, an assignment, something that comes up. But I also think there's a lot of value, and I think especially for those that you're listening, this idea of like preparatory resilience, or preventative resilience. So the ability to foster and grow this in yourself before you hit this wall, before you hit this obstacle in your path. And I love that, for you guys in the SOAR fam. I love CrossFit SOAR. I love the community that I know Dave has been building up and has been investing and sowing into here, because there's this idea behind anything preventative that has to do with like a resource pool, or the connection that you feel, right? So for many of you, CrossFit is your family. SOAR is the SOAR family. It is the first place that you go to when there's a problem. It's the first place that you look to for help moving or help navigating a difficult situation in your life, and that's a beautiful thing. And right there is the first like bastion of resilience that
Mhm.
comes from being aligned to a cause, aligned to, in some ways, a community. um, and I think that might be gym specific. I don't want to say that all CrossFit gyms are like this, but when I think of CrossFit SOAR, and I think of this as an example, right? There's causes, there's missions that Dave, you're about, the gym is about. People bring things to your awareness and you're like, yeah, let's support this. Let's run with
Mhm.
this. Let's try to meet a need. And I think that is so important when we start to talk about resilience in a preventative way. Are you a part of a community? Because if you're not part of a community, all it takes is the one domino to fall and you got nothing to lean on. Right.
Yep.
So think about dominoes. Like if I fall, I'm just done. Right. But if I'm the domino and I fall on somebody else, now they may absorb some of that load and they may start to tilt. But then when you get enough like close packed dominoes, what happens? They just kind of tilt and they lean on it and they
Yep.
don't quite topple the rest of the stack, which if you're playing dominoes or not playing dominoes, but like, building with dominoes, it's really a bummer when they don't topple like you want them to. But for this analogy, that's super important. So
Yeah.
um, I don't know, Dave, what do you think? Connection, resource pool. How do you see your community at SOAR actually like contributing to the personal resilience of, gym members or even community members that are connected in some way to the
So
community?
um, we call it sometimes, what's the term? Firesides or fireside talks, things like that, where the idea of, hey, there's this fire in the middle. The
Hmm.
fire is there to keep you warm and protect you, and we're all sitting around the fire
Hmm.
doing it together. But something happens with CrossFit where everyone's going through the same struggle of the workout. And so you build a bond, and they do that in the military. That's part of boot camp and everything like that,
Yep.
right? Everyone together hates their drill instructor, but that's the bond that pulls them together. And then in the future, they're like, wow, I really like my drill instructor. It's kind of usually what
Yep.
happens. Um, but the bond and the friendships they create because they struggle together is different than sometimes the superficial friendships in other areas. And then if
Hmm.
you put on top of that, having a bigger mission than just fitness, but helping the neighbors, all the charities, different things going on, that creates another bond because you're with like-minded people and you feel safer going out and reaching for help. So what I know is we see people come into the gym uh, if they don't have anything but themselves and their main mission is just them and they have a hard time seeing outside of that. It's a very selfish world, but it's very painful because you believe everything happens to you, right? Things aren't people doing things for themselves. Everyone's doing something against you. And now you just are in this pit of, I have no friends. I have no goals. Everything just happens to me. Why can't the world leave me alone? And by plugging into a group that is other focused, hey, we work out for ourselves, but you're with your friends, and we start plugging in different missions and causes, and you see that other people are in worse positions than you at time, it kind of helps to make you feel better, as
Yep.
well as the fact that you just helped someone. And so you have the ability to help someone, right? You just got that high off of helping someone, which even if it's just a high five after a workout, which COVID, who knows, right? Elbow bump, foot bump, whatever it's going to be. Just that ability to cheer on each other, that builds a different type of community and cause because now you are here for each other more,
Hmm.
which I know is something that I struggled with for a while just because as a quote unquote leader of a group, which is funny because people always say like, oh, the community that Dave built at SOAR. I don't see it that way at all, right? We have a certain feel to the gym that not everyone necessarily fits into, right? So part of it is if you put out a vision for your life or for your business or for your cause, whatever it is, people that don't line up with that vision or cause naturally start to get kicked out. Or you kind of have the conversation that leads them to a different area. So we've been fortunate where we've always had that with the gym, where we want it to be this place where you can come and feel not just feel safe, but understand that we're here to help you succeed in life outside these walls as well. And we want
Hmm.
to help other people succeed. That draws people and brings them into a cause where we have the opportunity to introduce people to ways that they can help our local neighbors in ways that they probably didn't know exist before, just because it's so easy to get just tunnel vision on your own life,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I think by communicating our vision for the gym, what we want the gym to be more and more and more, which we're doing better at, kind of gets people to come on board with it,
Yep.
which the gym is more about what people say when I'm not around than it is what people say when I am around. So I hope that they're saying good things. It's not always true, right? It's the way it is. I mess up, I make mistakes. It's the way it works. Um, but I know that the gym provides a platform and a space for people to learn
Hmm.
that they can have a different vision or mission in their life that's just not selfish, just not all about them, but there's a big world out there and we can each have a unique impact on that world in some way, shape, or form. So that's a very long way of saying we hope the gym helps people get out of their own head and not be selfish and realize that they can make an impact
Yep.
and that they're capable of making an impact.
Yep. And I mean, this is kind of getting into one of the other topics that we want to address more fully in the future here, but it's this idea that um, part of resilience is knowing like where your resources are and how to tap into them. And I would say the most resilient people in the world are those that know how to ask for help the most,
Mhm.
the, the, the in the most specific ways and the easiest to the right people. So when you think of a gym, you think a collective body of people, you think of people with diversified backgrounds. You got doctors, you got nurses, you got lawyers, you got school teachers, you got, you know, meal prep people, you got everybody that,
Yeah.
that like has a unique role to play and things that they can offer. But in the big picture, it's not just about like the consumer driven, like what can you do for me, so much as it is the um, if I am trying to foster my own resilience in a preventative manner, being plugged in and connected to a cause, especially a cause of I want to help out in this community, I want to be a part of this charitable endeavor, also means that you have access to other people so that when you are struggling, you have other people that are present to know that you're struggling, to
Yeah.
sense that you're struggling. Even if you don't utter a word, people pick up on it, right? But also for those to step in and help you out. And the other thing that I think is so important psychologically is that a huge barrier to personal resilience is this belief that I can't do it. But there's something, psychologically phenomenal when you take up the cause of somebody else and you do for them what you didn't even think you could do for yourself. You show up in their life and in a in a way to take on a commitment of accountability or some sort of mission, even if it's like moving, right? Like that's just such an easy example where you all show up and you help somebody and they feel super blessed and they're aided and their spirits are lifted.
Mhm.
That actually is helpful for you because you realize that's not only what you're capable of, but that you are the very thing that maybe you doubted would be present for your life in a time or in a situation that's different than what that looks like. So maybe you just need somebody to talk you through a tough time because of I don't know, a month where you have a loss of a loved one, a memorial or um, a remembrance of a
Mhm.
loss of a loved one. And it's just a tough month and you need people to help you and be there and be present. Like that's actually part of that resilience. But I'm getting, like I said, I'm getting off into a little bit of another topic here, but it's the idea that if you are part of a cause, you partner and you're with a group of people that are are there and are trying to do something similar and kind of have the same, I don't want to say the same values, but value enough of the same things that you know that they're there and can help, or at least are a first line of defense to help. So,
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely. Totally agree with it. When you're with people that you've done things with and agree with, you're more likely to ask for help and lean on them, and that helps you through the hard times. So you don't feel kind of alone, which I think is a big part of personal resilience. Is it's very hard to be resilient when you feel completely alone.
Hmm.
Yeah. So thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, my
Stay
pleasure.
tuned. Stay tuned. Next week we'll have part 3 for you, which I don't even know what the name of it is. So hopefully we'll find out next week. We'll see which one we'll do next. But we have 7 of these. Hope you get something out of it. And we will absolutely link Kyle's work YouTube page as well down below, since he helps people for a living. So you might need help. All right. Thanks, Kyle.
Yep, you got it.